I'm better than you. I've got tubeless tires. First ride with tubeless, riding my usual route, I suddenly heard a hissing sound. Then I felt that sound on my legs. I had a puncture that wouldn't seal. There was sealant spraying out everywhere. People were staring, my fellow riders were laughing, oh, he's better than us. And I was embarrassed and flabbergasted. How is this puncture not fixed already? Well, it's because I didn't know enough about tubeless road tech. And in this video, I'll share my 1 year with tubeless experience with you. Long story short, I've gone back to tubes. Before I go on, I want to clarify that this isn't a tubeless bashing video. Tubeless works very well for mountain biking or gravel riding. Think larger volume tires, lower pressures. Thousands also swear by tubeless for road biking, and I'm sure it works very well for them. But if you think tubeless is a fill it, shut it, forget it type deal, you're very mistaken. It might not work for your particular use case, and there are several non-obvious considerations that you should be aware of when running a tubeless setup, regardless of your cycling discipline. Let's dive in. Most importantly, how well does it work? Here's my personal experience. Around a year ago, I bought a new Trek Domane that came set up tubeless. In about 2,000 kilometers of riding, I have had 5 punctures that wouldn't seal. 2 of those did somewhat seal enough to allow me to ride 10 kilometers home, but I had to stop to pump up the tires a few times en route, and the tire went completely flat after that. On my tires, there are 0 punctures that the sealant permanently sealed. For some context, I started off with the Trek supplied Bontrager sealant, which is actually crap, and when I realized it wasn't sealing punctures, I moved up to what is arguably the best sealant for road bikes, Silka's Ultimate Sealant. And that didn't help either. Despite my terrible experience, there are riders who are having a fantastic experience with tubeless on road bikes. There are use cases for which it could possibly perform marvelously, and we'll discuss that later once we have more context. So let's talk about the factors that affect whether or not your puncture will seal. The biggest factors are the size of the cut or hole and the quality of your sealant. Not all sealants are equal, and they can handle punctures of varying sizes. If your cut is larger than what your sealant can handle, you're done. According to this test by Cycling Weekly, Silka Ultimate could handle the widest cuts. But do take into account the fact that these tests were performed in lab conditions with fresh sealant. This is not the same as what happens in real life. Sealants that work for gravel and mountain biking might not work well enough for road due to the higher pressures in road bike tires. You'd likely need to choose a sealant with some additives that will help plug the hole faster. Sealants are also rated for temperature, and if the temperature is too low, the sealant may not work as effectively or at all. The next factor would be having sufficient fresh enough sealant in your tire. Your sealant can be insufficient or entirely absent due to a number of reasons that we'll discuss in a bit. If your tubeless rim tape gets damaged or out of alignment, or God forbid you somehow damage your rims, air will escape and the tire will not seat or hold pressure. Terrain matters too. If you're riding very rough terrain with a fair bit of bumps, that additional pressure could affect holes or cuts that have sealed or have yet to seal. So if you thought a tubeless system meant a guaranteed no puncture experience, that's pretty far from the truth. So what happens when you get a puncture? Best case, you get a puncture, it will seal in a few turns as you ride, and you won't even know unless you examine the tire closely. Sometimes you will have a lot of sealant spraying out. You will hear and possibly feel this too. It'll spray over your bike, your legs, sometimes even on your fellow riders. This is just the initial reaction to a hole and the air blowing out. The hole could still seal just fine. Now what if it doesn't seem to be sealing? You could rotate your wheel so that the hole faces down, let it stand there for a few minutes so that the sealant collects there and has a better chance of sealing the hole without being disturbed. What could also happen though is that it does seal, but not for very long. This happened to me on my very first puncture with tubeless. I stopped, it sealed, and I rode on, but every few kilometers the sealant would spray out again and I'd have to stop and give it time to seal. This happened about 3 or 4 times until I got home. Finally, you may notice that the sealant keeps bubbling out and it just isn't sealing. At this point, you have a few options. If the leak is slow and you don't have too far to go, you could try to ride on, stopping a few times en route to pump it up. Next, you could use a tire plug. These work great for mountain bikes, but for road bikes, their efficacy is debatable and they aren't really long-term fixes. I tried using one. It did help seal enough to get me home, but I was still losing pressure and basically the plug made such a large hole in the tire, it was basically useless as a tubeless tire beyond that. No sealant would seal that hole. Your final option would be to put a tube in, and this isn't as simple as you might think. First, it'll be quite a messy affair, given the fact that you may still have a fair bit of sealant in the tire. Next, say your tire was punctured by a thorn in the past, but the sealant fixed it, and you didn't even notice. The thorn could still be poking through the tire. You could even have other sharp objects that have gone right through and are now rolling around within your tire. If you don't check for these, the moment you inflate your tube, these nasty buggers will puncture it almost immediately. And finally, something you'd never even think would be a problem. The lock rings on tubeless valves are pretty tight. From first-hand experience, you could find it difficult or even impossible to loosen these without a pair of pliers. Then after putting the tube in, there's a good chance your tire won't seat evenly and you'll have a bumpy ride home. Let's think longer term. Once you get home, what do you do with a hole that didn't seal? If it didn't seal because of insufficient sealant, you could add more and hope for the best. But if the hole is too big for your sealant, perhaps air is still leaking out very slowly, or you want a more permanent fix than the plug you used out on the road, you'd need to patch the tube from inside. The patches that you'd use to fix the tube, vulcanizing or not, might work, but from personal experience, I had one attempt work and the other catastrophically fail. You need to clean your tire well and use a more robust patch that's specially made for tires for a reliable fix. Alternatively, go back to tubes or really just bin this tire. This brings me to a point about longevity of the tire. In a tubeless setup, I'm guessing about half a dozen punctures would be at most what your tire could take, especially if the holes are large or you've been plugging them. Maybe more if you're patching the tire from the inside. If you want to stay reliably tubeless after this, you'd probably have to buy a new tire. Now, when you get a puncture with a tube, you check the tire, swap the tube with a good one, and fix the puncture at home with patch kits that are easily available. Patching a tube is relatively easy, even if you have to do this out on your ride. It's also faster and cheaper than patching a tire. Depending on what caused you to puncture, it is possible that you have significant tire damage that would require you to repair the tire, and here tubeless won't help either. But in most cases, you'd have holes in the tire that with a tube you can just ignore, but they might just be too large for even the best sealants to fix. So with tubes, your tire can handle many more punctures and remains viable for much longer. Bottom line, unless your sealant just works, you're going to have a worse time with a puncture on your tubeless setup than you'd have with tubes, both out on the road and back at home when you're making permanent repairs. If you've even remotely researched tubeless, I'm sure you'll have seen at least a couple tubeless explosion videos where the tire basically explodes, sending sealant flying everywhere. Given what you will have to do to install tubeless, that's not actually a far-fetched scenario. I'm not going to go into tubeless setup in detail. Suffice to say it's difficult. You may need a booster pump or an air compressor, and at least the first time you're probably better off doing it at a competent store. Let's say you are up and running with tubeless. So far, so good. Unfortunately, the sealant doesn't last forever. It tends to dry up over time. After 5 months, this is how much sealant was left in my tire, which had 0 punctures during this time. Likely not enough to fix any punctures I might have had. And notice this clump? Well, I hadn't ridden my bike in about a month, and this is what happened to the carbon particles from the Silca Ultimate Sealant. The carbon particles make it better at sealing punctures, but on the flip side, also make it more prone to clumping. Most sealants will clump if you don't ride your bike for extended periods of time. And since I don't ride frequently enough, I'd have to go to my garage and spin the wheels like a 3-year-old, with anyone watching probably wondering, what the hell is this jackass doing? Bottom line, sealant doesn't last forever and needs replenishment or replacement. How often do you need to do this? That depends on dozens of variables. How much sealant you started with, the specific type and quality of sealant, the temperature at which your bike is stored, how much you ride your bike, how much sealant you have lost to punctures, and many other factors. Typically, the replacement or replenishment period is between 2 and 6 months. You can check your sealant levels with a dipstick. Some just add sealant directly, but you may sometimes need to add a cleaning step where you clean out the old sealant. Depending on how long the old sealant had been in there, you could have a very time-consuming, arduous process ahead of you. What you're seeing is my other tire, which had a puncture that the sealant didn't fix, and I let it dry out. Not going to be fun to get this clean. Finally, sealant can sometimes clog your tubeless valve, making it difficult to pump air into the tire, and you may need to periodically replace the valve core. Compared to dealing with tubes, you can clearly see how much more complicated and involved this is. Experienced mechs at bike stores don't struggle with tubeless installation and maintenance, but they take a fair bit of time over it, and they have all the equipment necessary at hand. So despite having a somewhat decent ability to handle tires in general, When it came to tubeless stuff, I made a beeline for my bike store. I did not have the time, did not have the tools, and perhaps most importantly, did not care to gain the proficiency to deal with tubeless tires. This sucked because my bike would be sometimes out of commission for weeks before I made the time to get it to the store. In the last year, I made far more trips to my bike store than I ever did, and most of these trips were to fix my tires. Obviously, tubeless systems are going to cost you more both initially and in the long run. Let's just run through how much more. First, the tires. The tubeless version of a specific tire model will, on average, cost 15 to 20% more than the tube-type counterpart. In general, tubeless tires will probably start at $45 to $50, while you can find decent tube-type tires for as low as $20. I should point out that if you want to buy tube-type tires with good puncture protection, they will cost more, around $30 to $40 at least. Sealant is your next expense. Best case, a $10 pouch of muck-off sealant could last you 3 to 6 months. If you want to use something more robust like silica, ideally a year's supply of sealant and replenisher would cost around $30. In comparison, a couple of tubes will cost you $10. Inner patches for your tires in a tubeless setup would cost about $6 for 3 patches, while patches for your tubes would cost about half that for at least twice as many patches. Or you could just buy a new tube. If you want a tubeless plug kit for your tire, they start at around $20, but you can get advanced kits like Dynaplug, which will cost you $60. A good quality track pump that you would normally buy will cost $40, but if you want to maintain your tubeless system at home, a booster pump will make things a whole lot easier. This will set you back $140. With all the negative things I've had to say about tubeless so far, can it still make sense for road bikers? The answer is yes, but I'll break that up into 2 parts. First, can you use tubeless? And next, should you use tubeless? Can you use tubeless? First, you need to be okay spending significantly more money on your tires both for setup and maintenance. Next, you need to make peace with maintaining your tubeless setup at home or have access to a competent bike store that you can get to easily. Not all bike stores, even those that sell high-end premium bikes, will be good at tubeless tech. Finally, you need to ride frequently. In my opinion, if you ride less than 2 or maybe even 3 times a week, your sealant will tend to coagulate and clump. Sure, you can spin your wheels every other day, but besides looking like a jackass, if you don't keep your bike at home with you, this can be quite an inconvenience, especially when you're going on holiday or if you travel often. So if you're okay with the can part, let's move on now to the should bit. If you're taking part in a race or an endurance ride that lasts a day or 2, a puncture that seals automatically could easily make the difference between winning and losing. A number of the issues with tubeless pertain to maintenance and long-term use. These don't apply to use over a few days. In fact, there are some sealants that are specially designed for races and short-term use. So going tubeless for a race can definitely be worth it. If you're out on a multi-day tour though, if something overwhelms your tubeless system, this is going to be difficult to fix away from your home, and you might want to consider using tubes from the get-go. Next, consider the frequency at which you get punctures. Are you getting maybe 1 or 2 a year? Personally, I'd say that's too few punctures to bother with a tubeless setup. If you're getting punctured more frequently, consider the type and the cause of punctures you're getting. Snake bites from slamming into potholes or because you like running lower pressure? Riding in areas with goat heads, or you often get punctured by small thorns? Tubeless will serve you well. However, if you're getting large punctures, say the cut is typically over 6 or 7 millimeters wide, tubeless won't save you. If you've decided on a tubeless system for your road bike, you're already spending more money. Don't scrimp on tires. And just because a tire is tubeless ready doesn't mean it's a high quality tire. Save yourself some long-term grief, do some research and get great tires. Next, get good sealant. While it didn't work for me, I've seen Silica Ultimate being referred to as the most reliable sealant for road bikes by experienced mechs. But on the flip side, you really need to keep up with your riding and maintenance schedule to prevent the sealant from clumping and drying out. If, like me, you're sticking with tubes, get a good puncture-resistant tire. If you can, spend more to get one with less rolling resistance, like the Pirelli Cinturato Velo. In my opinion, a tire with good puncture protection is far better than a tire with mediocre protection and tire liners, for instance. But if properly inserted, they can work well too. Now go watch this video so your hopefully reliable tires can actually take you places. Until next time, ride safe.